Hey folks, I want to talk to you for a minute about fishing this time of year and how these different weather changes can affect the outcome of our fishing. Most of us know that we've got pre-front bites, bites during the front and post-front. And typically the post-front is kind of the hardest one to figure out for the most part. And it has a lot to do with, I think, the barometric pressure. Now we know that fish will feed on a rise and a fall of a barometric pressure change, but what happens when it, tops out? When it gets to, 30, 30 and a half, maybe even 31, depending on the severity of the front, that plateau, I believe, the fish really shut down, the biomass, if you will, shuts down. Now, you can still find fish, but I think it's kind of the, one here, one there type deal. It's not your typical weight or your typical drift where you're catching, 5 or 6, 10 fish per stop. But the biggest thing that affects the bite is that plateau or that leveling off of the pressure. And I think if you start paying attention to these differences, the rise in the pressure or the fall in the pressure, or even how long the pressure stays leveled out, I think it will lead you to better determine, a post-front fishing situation. Typically, kind of a general rule of thumb, we talk 2 to 3 days after a front. Typically when you see the pressure start to fall. Take today, for example. Today we had fish, we were chasing redfish today, sight casting, and we could see them. You'd throw in front of them, they'd bump around. And I kind of looked at the mid-morning, looked at the pressure, and it was 30.34 or something like that, and rising. I was like, okay, that makes sense, But we'll stay with it. We're going to stay on it and see if we can't get 1 or 2 of them to screw up. And about, 12:30, 1 o'clock, we started catching fish. It just so happened to be talking with the clients about it and pulled it up again and looked, and sure enough, it had started to fall. Not saying that was the number one issue of today, but if you start to pay attention to these little details, we always talk about getting all the stars to align. Well, this is one of those stars fishing this time of year. I think if you start watching it a little closer and paying attention to it, it'll start helping you determine, where to be or when to be there, type of deal. I hope this helps. Don't base your trip solely on this. Like I said, it's one of those key things, one of those stars that we need to align for the perfect day. But, y'all be safe this weekend and enjoy the week. I think it looks like it's going to be beautiful, but we'll see y'all here next week. Thank y'all.